There used to be a time where I didn't think much of China's video game industry, because I'm an American, and I don't have to think. I was under the impression that all they wanted to do was create the same endless supply of gacha games fueled by microtransactions, loot boxes, and that they just wanted to make the exact same kind of game with a different coat of paint. But the last year or so has shown me quite the opposite. In fact, Western game developers might even be in shambles now, looking at what China has been cooking up. First, Black Myth Wukong came out. That game hit some insane numbers on Steam. Did you know, fun fact, fun monkey fact, it is still the second most played game on Steam in terms of concurrent players. But Black Myth Wukong not only resonated with Chinese audiences, but American audiences too. We got to see this side of Chinese culture that we don't often see represented in media, movies, TV shows, or video games. It was a solid Souls-like experience. Could have been a fluke though, could have been a fluke. That is until NetEase also came out with Marvel Rivals. That was like an underappreciated gem. I don't think many people know about Marvel Rivals. It kind of flew under the radar. It's kind of crazy to see a Chinese developer take an American IP and beat another American developer at their own game. NetEase made a better Overwatch than the sequel to Overwatch. You see, Marvel Rivals had this crazy revolutionary idea of letting everybody play all of the heroes for free. It's something Star Wars Battlefront 2 couldn't quite figure out. Something that Blizzard and Overwatch 2 couldn't quite figure out. Marvel Rivals proved that yes, free-to-play live service games can succeed, and this is what they should be. So my eyes are open now. I'm paying much more attention to video games China is putting out than I ever have before. Which brings us to the latest entry, in a game called Blood Message. Get this, it's a AAA single-player game. AAA? Single-player? I haven't heard those words in a long time. But this is NetEase's premiere trailer for a new game that appears to be a sort of God of War, Assassin's Creed, action-adventure type game. And I hesitate to compare it to those two because when I watched the trailer, it felt so different from any other game I'd seen before. You know, we've seen plenty of games set in like medieval Japan, playing as a samurai. Your eyes kind of can clue into that. But this was medieval China, and it carried a very distinct visual style that like had me scratching my head. I didn't know what to compare it to, and I feel like sometimes that's all I do. Because I'm like comparing this year's Call of Duty to last year's Call of Duty and the 1,400 Call of Duties before that, you know? Blood Message is a single-player game set during the Tang Dynasty. Now, had this dynasty been in Age of Empires 2, I could tell you all about it, but it wasn't, so I know nothing. And I was lucky enough that they actually reached out to me and wanted to sponsor me to watch the trailer and react to it. So I did that on stream a few days ago. Now, before we watch it together, just remember, this is just a trailer. Things are subject to change. The game may not actually look like this at release. Let's hope it does. But keep your expectations in check, and I'd say keep an eye on this one. Blood Message official reveal trailer. 2 million views, 7,900 comments. All right, let's give it a gander. Now, here we go. $2 million views in a day, not bad.
Tang 还在的时候，丝路上的灯火从西域一直亮到长安。
Silk Road Mansion
能点亮天上的星河。
大唐离我们太远了，神佛还会庇佑河西吗？
我是认真决定的，我还是想再试一次。
Where's the set? If it's in a desert.
今日，我们所流的血，是为了把大唐带回来。
A24 Entertainment. I'm not familiar with them.
在破城之前把您带出来。
Ooh, okay. There's no way the game is actually gonna look like that.
安宁，等着我。安宁，安宁。
阿爷，
If it actually looks like that, that's gonna be...
去长安。
That'll be the major test. Okay. Alright, that was pretty fucking sick. Yo, but if it does look this good, it's over.
回家吧，这一切毫无意义。天命所归，我才是大唐。到头来，处死
Okay.
更多人，什么都不会改变。
Ooh. It looks pretty.
没有我的帮助，你走不出这片沙漠。
Llamas? No, camels. I like camels. I don't know if I've ever seen a game that looks quite like this. In terms of like the style setting.
如果神不肯拯救我们，
Oh, feet!
那就让我来。
Wait, rewind. For all you sickos out there. Ooh. That was a nice shot.
Anya, 等着我。
是对信使，每个人都做好了有去无回的打算。
All right, China's been cooking up some games. They have been cooking. Sonic World's Racing Kid's Choice. Okay, if the gameplay actually looks like this, graphics, right? If it looks like that, it looks too good to be true. Bro, that's what I thought about like Marvel Rivals when I played it. Black Myth Wukong, Marvel Rivals, and now Blood Message. China's cooking. They're cooking with games right now. Okay, so the only other things to think of with a game like this, number one, is it gonna feel like you're playing a game or watching a cutscene? You know what I mean? Yeah, it needs to feel like you're actually playing, as opposed to like, you press a button or two and then, a 5-second animation plays and you don't really have control over it. I thought that looked pretty dang good. It's usually hard to sell me on a game where it's like, it's all a different language that I don't understand. It's hard to sell me on that, but if you really nail the style and the vibe, I feel like I can get down with that. Like, I won't mind. Pretty solid. All right. But it remains to be seen if the game will actually look like that. Black Myth Wukong was like fantastical. Journey to the West. Not really realistic, so to speak. Are there that many games that are like set in medieval China?
No!
So here are my thoughts after watching the trailer a second time. Number one, I think it's cool to see a side of Chinese history that we don't often see in media over in the US. Blood Message looks distinctly different from every other like typical Japanese samurai type game. I can't quite put my finger on what is different or why it feels different, but it does. And I think it's cool that games like this are starting to hit mainstream over in the West, because this is, you know what? I'll say it. Cultural diversity is important. And I think diverse businesses help each other compete and make the best products. We've seen far too many flops and failures, and the AAA game industry in the West is like, oh yeah, let's put another $100 million into this failed idea that's gonna die within 6 months of release, and then, yep, oh yeah, let's keep laying off more staff. What's up, Microsoft? That stuff happens far too often in the West, and it's just nice to see a AAA single-player focused game that appears to have no catch-22, and they have their shit together. It's safe to say that Western game development dominance supremacy is at least being challenged. If you've been sleeping on Chinese video games lately, I think it's time to wake up. Now here's some small cool details that I noticed. When a guy gets punched into the wood here, it breaks. Now, if all of the environments can be damaged this way during combat, that's pretty fucking cool. Judging by the horse and the cluster of guys, I think it's safe to say that there's gonna be battles in big groups, including horses. So the choice of location is interesting. And it also looks like there's gonna be puzzles. Despite that most of this was shown in like a desert, they've showed off a wide variety of gameplay, which is nice because variety is the spice of life. Thank you to 24 Entertainment for sponsoring this video. You can visit the official Blood Message website and follow their social media accounts, which will be linked in the description if you want to stay tuned on future updates and announcements for the game. Blood Message looks pretty fucking cool, and I think it's safe to say, given the enormous positive response this trailer has garnered, that people want to see more of this. They want to see more actual, real, no catch-22, single-player driven AAA games. There is a market for that, all right? Not everything has to be a shitty live service, you know? Those are my first impressions of Blood Message. Take it for what it's worth. Again, it's just a trailer. The game is not out yet. It's not even in beta. We haven't seen real gameplay. But as far as what I saw, I'm keeping my eye on it. But thank you all for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video. Leave a like if you did and subscribe to the Act Man for more awesome content. All right, everyone, that's all I got for today. This is the Act Man signing out. Peace.